Absolutely.
Carlosi?
There's a second sheet there too. How have you been?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you.
How's everything?
Good.
Good.
This is on. You're being recorded.
Oh, that's okay. It's all pleasantries.
Exactly.
No, he doesn't public speak at all. What the hell you need an email for?
Your date of birth, your blood type. That read a sample.
Sam.
Thank you, sir. Welcome to this special meeting of the Common Council. We begin with public participation to start this meeting of the Common Council. Remarks from the public will be limited to the resolution on the agenda tonight under 4-10 of the Charter and 2-27 of the City Ordinances. For those not familiar with our council rules, in accordance with Robert's rules, all speakers should address their remarks to the chair, not to the audience, nor individual members of the council. Remarks must be relevant to the agenda again and be respectful. Disruptions will not be tolerated. Please remember to state your name and address clearly for the record. You've got the floor for 3 minutes, and I will call from this list first, and then open it up to anyone who has not signed up or speakers calling in remotely. So I'll call from the list, and the first name is John Buckley.
Good evening. My name is John Buckley. I live on 68 Dorman Road, New Britain, in Ward 4. I am here in staunch support of Robert Smedley, who served the city both as an employee and as a city council member for many, many years. Alderman Smedley has done exceptional work with the city and the school department in energy conservation and cutting-edge technology to reduce costs. I've followed his career. I'm also in a similar business, and I also know firsthand that he has the highest principles when it comes to getting the value for all of the work that he does in facilities to make sure the city is getting the value for the work that's being done. I also recognize many, many years that he served on this city council, and all the great things that were done in the last 12 years, and have been a champion of many of those excellent things. As far as the issue before the council tonight, he made some comments at a very low point in his life, in my opinion, based on the death of a dear friend on a private social media account under an alias. As someone whose family has been ripped apart by grief, I can attest that grief is a very powerful thing, and it can cause you to have some minor misjudgment. I urge the council to recognize the minute nature of this infraction, if it is one, and to look at the many, many years of service of Alderman Smedley as both an employee and a city council member, and vote not to remove him from the city council. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Sergio Ferencio. Did I say that right, Sergio? Sorry.
Almost.
Name and address, thanks.
Good evening, board members. My name is Sergio Juvencio. I'm the owner of 501 East Street in New Britain, Connecticut, and 215 LaSalle Street in New Britain as well. I'm here for one clear ask, a fair adjustment and reduction of the current water and sewer balance because of the charges were.
Sorry, we're confined to what's on the agenda tonight, and next Wednesday, you can come before the council.
They told me when I called to come today. That's why.
That's next Wednesday.
Oh, next Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay.
There's just one item tonight not pertaining to that.
I'll come by next Wednesday. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Next speaker, Norman Duval. Norman.
Thank you, Alderman McNamara. I'm greatly disheartened to learn of your action as a board in terms of considering the removal of a long-serving Alderman Robert Smedley from the Common Council. Suffering and grief affect all of us, and in some cases profoundly. But ousting someone for the council for a post made on Facebook under an alias and removed shortly after due to the loss of a dear friend is uncalled for. Alderman Smedley was not speaking in his official capacity as a council member, and I shudder to contemplate the legal ramifications in moving forward with such an action. I'd like to appeal to the better angels of our nature here, please, and be hopeful that sincere empathy and understanding of the grief for the loss of Alderman Jarrell Hargrave and its effect on this community might in some way be a moderating factor in politics for our city of late. Finding common ground for the sake of our citizens and calling for respectful dialogue and rising above the inclination to take such action is a path, in my view, for the betterment of New Britain and advances trust and support rather than division and conflict. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Anthony Kane.
Anthony Kane, 41 Brookside Road, New Britain. Good evening, Chairman and members of the council. I stand here in support of Alderman Smedley and to voice strong opposition to his potential removal. While I disagree with the comments and tone of his Facebook post, it does not rise to the level of removal. It was not a crime. It was made as a private citizen while going through the stages of grief mere hours after the loss of a dear friend. Past members of the Common Council have not faced removal for far worse, including using their position to help family members obtain city jobs or verbally and physically assaulting a sitting mayor and using homophobic slurs against private citizens. I urge you to take a measured approach in response in disciplining Alderman Smedley. He made a mistake, which we are all guilty of. I'm only asking you to do what is just and not go beyond that to vengeance. His decades of public service to the city of New Britain should not be erased because of one decision in a moment of extreme grief. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kane. The next speaker is Jeffrey Foss Roger. Let me know if I said that right, Jeffrey.
Jeffrey Fostrugan, 19 Fawn Run, Cromwell. Good evening, members of the council and fellow residents of New Britain. My name is Jeffrey Fostrugan. I have known Alderman Robert Smedley since childhood. I'm not here tonight as a political insider. I'm here as someone who has watched his life unfold over decades and who has seen firsthand the kind of man he is. We are all human. We all experience grief. We all have moments where emotion speaks loudly, but no one should be defined by a single emotional moment, especially after 14 years of dedicated public service to the residents of New Britain. Robert's life has been rooted in service to the community. As a youth, he was a police explorer. As an adult, he became a police explorer advisor. Today, Robert Smedley serves as director of the Regional Police Cadet Organization, Nerlia, helping guide young people towards discipline, leadership, and purpose. Nerlia serves departments across all of New England and runs one of the largest youth cadet programs in the country. This is the same kind of youth mentorship and public safety partnership program that leaders across Connecticut are now looking to expand, and he has been doing this work effectively for years. Robert Smedley was able to guide this program through the challenges of COVID, not only keeping it alive, but continuing to grow it while managing it responsibly and keeping it financially sound. Thousands of young people have walked through that program at critical moments in their lives. Kids who needed direction, kids who needed accountability, kids who needed someone to believe in them. And because of that structure and mentorship, they found confidence, purpose, and a path forward. That kind of impact doesn't show up in headlines, but it shows up in lives changed. Alderman Smedley worked for New Britain 911 for 10 years, answering the call when residents needed help the most. He has mentored young people from New Britain High School, helping keep them out of the judicial system and on the right path. He fostered and adopted a homeless youth who was stuck in a DCF system, not for recognition, but because it was the right thing to do. And I want to speak personally for a moment. His son Angel has grown into a strong young man. His life would be different if it weren't for Alderman Smedley. Robert did not have to step into that role the way he did, but he chose to. He chose to be present, he chose to be consistent, he chose to be a father in every sense of the word. That matters. He has also volunteered countless of hours as a DJ for the city. Professionally, he has saved millions of dollars for the school district through energy management, and today he oversees approximately $300 million in school construction projects. That is a record, that is a body of work, that is a pattern of commitment. Leadership is not about perfection. It's about service, accountability, and long-term dedication. When evaluating an elected official, we must look at the full picture, not one moment in isolation. I stand here tonight because I believe Robert Smedley has earned the right to continue serving the community he has devoted his life to. This is why the great residents of New Britain have elected him again and again. They want him here. He is their voice, and that voice deserves to be respected. Tonight, I urge you, do the right thing and not remove Alderman Smedley from the city council. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker on the list is Marie Lausch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Council. My name is Marie Lausch, sometimes referred to on social media as FU Marie. I didn't like the comments that...
Marie, just state your address for the record.
I'm sorry, 51 Colt Street, a little dead end. I didn't like the comments that Alderman Smedley made about, I thought they were accusations of some misdoing. And I didn't expect this kind of treatment from an alderperson in New Britain. I know the national agenda is some nasty stuff going on, but I thought we were better than that. I am a grandma. Sometimes I'm tired. I have 6 biological grandchildren, 8 step and foster grandchildren, and although they're not alderpersons, none of them ever called names to people on social media. None of them ever said F you to another person in their town. I think that some apologies should be issued at the very least. It's up to you whether you think that the character displayed was what you want on your common council. I've had grief too. When I was a 911 dispatcher for 28 years, and my husband died when I was dispatching, I sent the ambulance out. I understand grief, but it doesn't give somebody a right to denigrate people on social media or hide behind a name that is a cover. I hope you'll do the right thing. You need to discuss and make your decisions. I've made my decision about the character of people on this council, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Louis Malave.
Good evening, members of New Britain Common Council. My name is Louis Malave, and I'm a resident of this community. I'm an advocate in the city of New Britain. I appear before you in support of the resolution to initiate a removal hearing concerning Alderman Robert Smedley. I respectfully urge this council to proceed in accordance with the authority granted under the city code and ordinance. When credible allegations arise that an elected official has engaged in conduct that may constitute misuse of office or that materially undermines public confidence, the council has both the authority and the obligation to initiate formal review progress. This resolution does not determine the guilt, initiates a hearing, a structured, fair, and transparent process. On about February 3, 2006, I was scrolling on social media when I came across Alderman Smedley, who was using his social media platform to make public accusations against the city's employees and others. Rather than pursuing a formal administrative or investigative channels, these accusations were determined broadly online. Additionally, inflammatory language associated and was circulating in connection with these posts escalated tensions and contributed to a hostile public atmosphere directed at city personnel. Whether intentional or not, such escalation and incompatible with the standards of his professionalism and restraint expected from these officials. When actions by an elected officials create division and fear or damage within the city, the consequences extends beyond individuals' disputes. They affect public confidence in governance. Accountability is not partisan, it is structural. The hearing contemplated by this resolution ensures due process, transparency, and fairness for all parties involved, including Alderman Robert Smedley. By voting to proceed, the council affirms that no elected official is above review. Public trust is paramount. This action does not prejudge the outcome. It ensures that the matter is addressed formally, lawfully, and transparently. The residents of New Britain are watching. I ask you to demonstrate that the standards of decency, fairness, and responsible governance apply equally to all. Thank you for your consideration. Louis Malave.
Thank you, Ms. Malave. Next speaker is Irv Viscamondo. I didn't do that right, did I? Name and address for the record.
Good afternoon. My name is Iris Viscarondo. I live in 40 Davenport Street, and I am a community advocate in the city of New Britain. And I come before you in full support of the resolution to hold a removal hearing concerning Alderperson Robert Smedley. And I respectfully urge this council to proceed swiftly and decisively in accordance with the authority granted to you under the city charter and the code of ordinance. The removal process being initiated tonight is not punitive in nature. It's a constitutional and democratic safeguard designed to protect the integrity of our city government and the Constitution it serves. On around February 3, Alderperson Smedley used social media platforms to make public unverified and potentially defamatory accusations against a city staff member and his family. His conduct went far beyond the bounds of responsible public discourse. Remember, an alderperson is an alderperson inside and outside of these doors. His conduct was more than public discourse. Rather than pursuing legitimate channels such as filing a formal complaint, requesting an administrative investigation, or engaging with appropriate oversight body, other persons choose to broadcast accusations that have created documented fear of bodily harm for a city employee and his family. This is not whistleblowing. This is recklessness. What is particularly trouble is the wording that he used, really offensive. This post, amplified through public platform by or in coordination with an elected official, have the effect of inciting public outrages against a named city employee without due process or factual verification. An elected official holds a position of public trust, and he knows this. He's been for years an alderperson. When such an official weaponizes that platform to conduct online attacks, disregarding repeat efforts to de-escalate, using profane and aggressive language against members of the public, and targeting a grieving community in a moment of tragedy, the line between free speech and abuse of office is crossed. The 4 charges outlined in the resolution before this council tonight are well-founded and amply supported by the record. The citizens of New Britain are watching. I ask this council to affirm through your vote tonight that no elected official is about the standards of decency, fairness, and responsible governance that this community expects and demands. The law is on your side. The community is behind you. Please act.
Thank you. Next speaker I have is Jordan Sipek. Jordan.
Good evening. My name is Jordan Sipek, 573 Corbin Avenue. It's often a tireless and thankless job working public sector in a city like ours, yet there are so many dedicated individuals that get up and face the challenges the city presents daily. It takes an even more passionate and dedicated individual that after working a full day chooses to be a public servant and or volunteer more of their time. I find this to be true of so many city employees, elected officials, and volunteers, and appreciate the love these people have for New Britain and its residents. I've known Alderman Smedley for as long as I've worked for the city. He's been one of the most reliable colleagues and a friend. I don't agree with the content of the post that was made on his personal social media page. That is not characteristic of Alderman Smedley that I know. We have to take into consideration the timing of the events when this post was made. You have to realize you were reading the words of a man that was in great emotional pain, dealing with the immense recent loss of a friend, a colleague, and an entire city is still hurting. Alderman Smedley has been such a huge contributor to the city of New Britain since he was a teenager. If I'm doing the math correctly, that's 25 plus years of service to the city, its residents, and its youth. I truly believe that post wouldn't have happened under normal circumstances. I hope that all of us as colleagues and fellow city residents can give Alderman Smedley another chance. This is a man that has always been passionate about the city, its causes, and always has made his time available to those that need it. I know many are grateful for the contributions he has made that often goes unsaid and unrecognized, and I cannot imagine New Britain without him and wouldn't want to. Please consider 25 years of positive action compared to this one unfortunate incident. I appreciate everything that you all do as a collective for our city and its residents, and I thank you all for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Next speaker is Antonio LeBoy.
Antonio T. Cruz Lavoy, 51 Brook Street, New Britain, Connecticut. I'm here today to ask for the removal of Robert Smedley for, number one, how it all started was when we lost Gerald Hargraves. The council Democrats were blamed for it, for bullying. They killed him. Then he went off the hook, talking about telling people, stay in their lane, shut the F up, granny, stuff like that. He's a leader, the leader of the Republican Party sitting here. Speaking like that, he should not be on council. 2019, I made a mistake, and I had the news media at my house. I had everything at my house knocking on the door. They chased me like I murdered someone. He did 10 times fold worse than what I did, and he needs to either step down or be removed. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Donald Malinowski.
Good evening. A special council meeting to decide on a hearing to date to remove Alderman Smith.
Donald, just name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry. Donald Malinowski, 69 Baruta Street in New Britain. So why the meeting? Because he made an admittedly inappropriate statement out of anger, frustration, and grief. Yes, he said something stupid. I wish I had a nickel for every time one of you in this room said something stupid and inappropriate. He probably should be censored by this council. But you are contemplating removing a duly elected official, denying the voters in this ward their representation on this council. Nothing he said rises to the level of removal. This maneuver smacks of Trumpian authoritarianism. If you dare to disagree, you are attacked. Perhaps your response to this ill-advised outburst is because he asked questions about how this administration is governing. You have chosen not a measured response, but the nuclear option. Democrats are supposed to be better than that. While you waste the council's time on this, there's no budget proposal ready, no finance director, no tax collector, commissions are left unfulfilled, no public response to the ransomware attack, and systems in the city are still down. This is an exercise in political theater that is beneath both this council and the city of New Britain. I'm asking you to address the real issues of the city and move past pettiness and retribution. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is John Board.
Good evening. John Boyd, Highland Terrace. Mr. Majority Leader, members of the council, tonight I want to ask you a simple question. What has this council done with the authority that you've been entrusted with over the last 90-plus days? Because the people of New Britain did not elect anyone, majority or minority, to spend their time racing towards the most extreme remedy available against a colleague. In the last 3 months, we've had no committee hearings, no referrals to committee, no sustained work on the issues residents feel every day. Yet one thing has been escalated with urgency is the removal of a duly elected representative. Removal is not corrective. It overturns the will of the voters. It's the political equivalent of the death penalty in municipal government. And it should never become a shortcut for settling political disputes, suppressing dissent, or making an example out of the minority leader. If this council believes that Alderman Smedley's actions warrant sanctions, there are less severe and more appropriate options that preserves the voter's voice, such as formal censure. That would be a measure in proportional, keeping the city focused on governance while still addressing the issue. I also want to speak directly to something else, character, because this council isn't just weighing allegations, it's weighing a record of life of service, and I think the community behind us knows Alderman Smedley's record. We enter public service to make a difference, and that's what my friend Robert Smedley has done for almost 14 years on this council, showing up and serving in ways that go far beyond any title. Now we're being told that his years of record should be eclipsed and judged by one defining spark of an emotional post that was made in grief. Let me be clear that grief does not excuse everything, but we cannot teach the community that a lifetime of good work can be wiped out overnight, especially when what New Britain needs right now is stability, perspective, and leadership. I'll be submitting an extended version of my remarks for the record, but what I'm asking in the supermajority, what I'm asking, especially those of you in the supermajority, is to take a step back. Is this proportional? Is this the best use of your time and authority? Does it strengthen the institution or weaken it? In summary, Alderman Smedley deserves to be fully evaluated on his record, and I urge you, choose a response that is measured, that is fair, that is focused on governing, not that one that depends on division and undermines the will of the voters. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Chris Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Chris Anderson. I live at 38 Forest Street. As you all know, I sat on this council, so I understand the severity of the decision before you. This is not something I think that you should take lightly, and I think that the posts and the resulting comments by Alderman Smedley are also not something that the council or the public should diminish. The council has every right, and I believe every obligation, to investigate fully what happened, to give Alderman Smedley a fair hearing as is required by charter, and that's exactly what the resolution before you does. It doesn't remove him tonight. It gives an opportunity for further discussion and review. And, you know, I understand grief. I sat on this council when I lost my mother after 20 days of diagnosis and a battle with cancer. I didn't lash out against anybody. I didn't accuse the administration of anything. I didn't name specific individuals who come to work every day and accuse them of misdeed or misconduct or infraction. And then I didn't double down and attack residents and call them names that I shouldn't even repeat on the floor tonight because of how nasty they were. These are actions unbecoming of an alderman. When you're an elected official, you don't clock out. You're not only an elected official in these chambers. You are an elected official all the time, and in particular, when you are talking about city staff, and in particular, when you are communicating with members of the public, you are held to a higher standard. We all, I think, believe that. And it wasn't too long ago that this council unanimously passed a resolution about political violence, and I wanted to read a section from that. It says, these acts are inflamed by incendiary political rhetoric, name-calling, and fear-mongering, amplified by extreme partisanship from both traditional and social media that stokes animosity for those with whom we disagree on policy issues and makes personal attacks on candidates and their families, demeaning individuals and dividing our citizenry. That was authored by Alderman Robert Smedley, as well as Alderwoman Sharon Beloin-Saavedra. I don't know what's changed in a year and a half, but that's exactly what happened here, and that's exactly what this council needs to consider. For those that want to give the alderman a pass because he was in grief, 2 weeks have passed. There's not been a public Facebook or otherwise apology that directly names the individuals harmed, and there has been no seeming remorse, and certainly no attempt to step down from leadership and take corrective action. So all of those would be appropriate. That should be considered before the council. But at the end of the day, you have every right to proceed and every obligation to proceed with a hearing on removal, and I urge you to take that vote tonight to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Don Naples.
My name is Don Naples. I live at 143 Fairway Drive in Ward 4. Most of what I had planned to say has already been said more eloquently than I could say it. Most of you also know that I sat on the other side of this for 12 years, and things come around that are similar. All I ask you to do is consider all the facts, the circumstances. Don't necessarily just do a party line vote. You have options here. I suggest you use some of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Naples. Our next speaker is Desiree Costa.
Good evening, council members. I rise tonight with a heavy heart. I had the privilege of sitting next to Alderman Hargraves on this council for 2 years. I accompanied and supported him at many city events he led or hosted on behalf of the Human Rights Opportunity Commission. I cheered for him when he coached and refereed Parks and Rec basketball games. I even danced with him a few times. He loved to dance. I will miss his smile, his laughter, and hearing his voice at the vet on Friday nights in the fall. Alderman Hargraves was invested in every corner of our community. He was a unifier. He showed up for residents, for children, for neighborhoods that felt overlooked. He understood that leadership is about bringing people together, especially in difficult moments. That is why what has followed his passing feels especially painful. I also have a professional relationship with Alderman Smedley. He has served on this council for many years. He's intelligent, well-spoken, and deeply knowledgeable about policy and procedure, likely more than anyone in this chamber. That is precisely why his recent conduct is so disappointing. When someone with that level of experience and influence makes serious public accusations without substantiation and engages a resident in a personal attack, it reflects a lapse of judgment. And judgment is central to leadership. At the same time, removal of an elected official is a significant and precedent-setting act. It is not something to take lightly. I trust that this council understands the gravity of this moment. Given the public nature of these events, I assume that discretion and private conversations have already taken place and were unsuccessful. This is not about politics. It is about standards. It is about responsibility, and it is about preserving public trust. If we fail to uphold these standards, we fail the people we serve. I respectfully ask that whatever action is taken, this process be handled thoughtfully and expediently so that we can return our focus to what truly matters, consoling and comforting a grieving family and a grieving community, and honoring the legacy of a man who worked so hard to unify us for so many years. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Joshua Manawang. Joshua.
My name is Joshua Manawang. I reside in Highland Terrace, New Britain. Good evening and thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm here today as a New Britain homeowner, taxpayer, and engaged member of this community to express my concern about the effort to remove Alderman Smedley from his position over a social media post that, while admittingly was emotional, it was not illegal, did not cause legal ramifications, it did not result in any tangible harm to the city of New Britain. I do not condone the post. I was with him the night that he posted it. I was probably one of the first persons to see it and ask him to remove it because I didn't agree with it and I knew what it could do. We all recognize that public officials are humans. Moments of emotional stress happen to everybody, especially to those who carry the weight of public service. One post made in extreme emotional distress should not outweigh more than a decade of consistent dedication, service, and investment to this city. I'm not going to go on through the rest of what I wrote of all the accolades and everything he's done, as it's been mentioned more than I can count during the evening so far. From my perspective as a resident and taxpayer, removing a duly elected official over a non-illegal social media post sets a troubling precedent. Elections should be determined by who serves, not political disagreements or reactions to an emotional moment. I worry that this is perceived by less of an accountability and more of an attempt to remove someone simply because he sits on the opposite side of the table with political views. Healthy democracy requires differing viewpoints, respectful debate, and fairness. It also requires recognizing the full record of a person's service, not defining them by a single moment. I urge everyone involved to consider the bigger picture, years of service, community impact, and the importance of maintaining fair balance and democratic process. And now I will go off script. In full transparency, I've known Bobby for 15 years. I consider him more than a friend or a best friend. He's like a brother to me. I do not agree with his actions. The post troubled me as well. We've spoken about it many times. I sat next to him that night trying to console him, and I've seen him emotionally in a way that was unconsolable, in a way that I haven't seen him at any moment in his life, high or low, in 15 years. When I was trying to move to Connecticut, the one thing that people told me on social media was stay away from New Britain, that it was not the place that I would want to live. Fast forward, I met Bobby, Alderman Smedley. We became fast friends. And what I got to know about New Britain and about New Britain politics as a die-hard liberal Democrat was that the administration here was full of diversity, a safe place for me and my husband to build a home and a family in. So fast forward, I moved, we rented, and recently became homeowners here. I'm sad to say that the Democratic Party that I love is not what I'm seeing recently, and I hope and I urge you guys to really think about what's happening and what this could do to the party by removing him. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the names I have on the list, and before I turn to anybody else in the audience who wishes to speak, is there anybody calling online? Last four numbers? 6664. Caller was 6664. Name and address, and the floor is yours for 3 minutes. Go ahead. Caller 6664. Go ahead. I jump to the next one. Hello, caller 3054. Please state your name and address, and the floor is yours. 3 minutes.
Hi, Chris Hughes, New Britain Farms Road. I'm here to call on I'm now again to your 14 years old. I know him to be passionate, definitely plugged into the community, dedicated to his life to the New Britain and ongoing. I am not here to give or provide any type of excuse or rationale for his statements that he made. All I ask is that he is treated fairly, due process is followed, and please take into consideration the hard work he's done for multiple decades with the city, how much volunteer work he's done for you. And I'm not here to condone or excuse or to give any type of rationale. We'll hear that directly about Smedley. He's the person that took it. All I'm asking for is that he's treated fairly and he gets to do that. Thank you.
Thanks for calling.
2014.
Hello, caller 2014. Name and address. The floor is yours for 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Joseph Wallet, 141 Booth Street, and I'm calling today to fully support our Alderman, Robert Smedley, during this unfair attempt to cancel him over a harmless Facebook post. In a time when public service is already challenging, it's disappointing to see energy spent on outrage instead of focusing on the real issues that affect our community. One imperfect or lighthearted social media post should not overshadow years of dedication, hard work, and commitment to the people he represents. Beyond his official duties, he consistently gives back, hosting a fantastic Halloween show each year that brings families together and proudly supporting our local high school and its students. Leadership requires accountability, yes, but it also requires fairness, perspective, and a willingness to engage in honest dialogue rather than rushing to judgment. Our city deserves better than political pile-ons over something so trivial. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
0774.
Caller with number 0074. Name?
0774.
What is that? I'm sorry. 0774. Thanks. 0774, caller. Name and address. You have 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Hilary DeFederaggio, and I live at 407 Monroe Street, New Britain. I'm calling today to speak against the impeachment of Alderman Smedley. It's extremely rare for me to speak on the side of a Republican. As we saw on January 6, 2021, they did not always favor democracy. But in this case, I believe it is the Democrats who are behaving undemocratically. To impeach someone from their position is an extremely big deal and should only come from immense public pressure after clear and egregious wrongdoing. I do not believe in Facebook posts, even if it were the cruelest post in the world, merits an egregious wrongdoing to remove someone from office. I believe the usually very well-meaning Democrats on this council are suffering from a bit of a power trip right now because they have been out of power for so long and are unaccustomed to how to wield it. Let's think back to when Aaron Stewart was mayor and so many of us complained about her conduct. Let's remember all the time Democrats angered her and she cut off their microphones at council meetings. We hated when she did that, and yet she never followed through with removing a city councilor from office. Today, Democrats, let's be better than our bullies. Let's be better than those we so often complain about. Let's run this council with professionalism and decorum and leave Facebook posts out of the room. When I vote for the party that has the people willing to swallow their pride and respect the people of New Britain, even when they disagree. I may disagree with Alderman Smedley 9 times out of 10, but he was elected by the people of New Britain, and that needs to be respected. Please be the party I voted for and put the petty squabbles aside and do your job. Thank you.
Thank you.
5088.
Caller with 5088. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Andrew Colon. I'm not a current resident, however, I am a New Britain High School graduate. I just want to start by saying I met Alderman Smedley roughly 12 years ago, and I can confidently say he's an amazing person with a fantastic character. Alderman Smedley impacted my life in many ways. From the very beginning, he believed in me when no one else did. He gave me structure when everything in my life was chaos, and most of all, he purchased clothes when he noticed the ones I was wearing in school had holes in them. But it didn't end there. He made sure I had employment and stayed off the streets. He even hired me for stage crew events to keep me in the community on the weekends. And again, it didn't end there. When I felt like I had no direction, Smedley gave me a map. And I'm proud to say I am the man I am today because of the mentorship Alderman Smedley provided me for years. I believe this incident should define Alderman Smedley's character, or rather remind us that he is human. Alderman Smedley is a leader who has a strong positive impact on youth, myself included. Removing him from the council would be unnecessary and a loss to the community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
6481.
Caller 6481. Name and address. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Council. Mark Wallace, 141 Booth Street. I'm calling to support longtime Alderman Robert Smedley. His dedication and work for the city is unmeasurable. A lot of things that I was going to say has already been said, so I'm not going to repeat it. As the council, you guys strictly focus on stabilizing the city that has slowly been sinking over the last 90 days. Looking to the leadership for creating a toxic work environment. Bobby Smedley is a great man. I've known him for a long time. I do not want to see him not on top of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
5051.
Caller 5051. Name and address. Caller 5051, the floor is yours. State your name and address. Caller with number 3669, name and address, and the floor is yours for 3 minutes.
Yep, good evening. My name is Avi Burial, and I live at 129 Newhall Street, New Haven, Connecticut. As someone who recently moved to New Haven, but lived in New Britain for over 10 years in Ward 4, including the fact that I ran against Alderman Smedley twice in 2 elections, I do want to take a moment to speak on this really important issue. First,
Alderman Smedley did and said on social media was wrong. There's no doubt about it. And at the very least, he should be censored by the council. However, I would strongly oppose, and I would strongly encourage members of the council to not consider removing Alderman Smedley from the council. While what he said was wrong, and hopefully he will apologize to the people he hurt and offended, his speech, even though it was offensive, is protected free speech under the Connecticut Constitution and the federal Constitution. Furthermore, the United States Supreme Court in Cohen v. California in 1971 affirmed that, saying that profane speech, like using the F word, and they said that specifically, is protected speech, and the government cannot take any adverse action against people who use profane, offensive speech. While we may disagree, some of us may disagree with that decision, that is the law. And I do care about New Britain, and I want everybody on the council to succeed, and I want the mayor, Mayor Sanchez, to be successful as well. But doing this will expose the city to massive legal liability, as well as denying the will of the voters. It should be up to the voters who decides who represents them, not people already on the council, and not because someone said something that was offensive. If Alderman Smedley, or anyone else for that matter, violates laws, commits misdemeanors or felonies, then at that point, it should be considered an option to remove that person. But as far as I can tell, and as far as I've been told, Alderman Smedley violated no laws, no rules of the council, and while his conduct was wrong, it does not rise to the level of removal. So please don't do this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
2757.
Caller.
This is Alan Ford, 145 Columbus Boulevard in New Britain. And I'm asking that Mr. Smedley be removed. I saw the post and I found that it was disgusting. Whether or not it's Democratic or Republican, that's not an issue. This is a man who was angry, and he became vicious in his speech. It's unnecessary. Our elected officials have to uphold the standards, whether or not they're in or out of the council chamber. It just doesn't make sense. It's not even Democratic or Republican. It's decent and indecent, and that's indecent. This is something that needs to be dealt with as soon as possible. And the bottom line is, you know, you get to the point to where, how much are we going to give up? He can't get away with that. We can't allow it. We need decency in our city. And it will happen, I know that. If that means that Mr. Smedley has to be removed, then so be it. Thank you.
Thank you.
3859.
Caller 3859, state your name and address.
Jim Sanders Jr., 172 Kensington Avenue. For all of you on that council that do know me, you know I am not a fan of Alderman Smedley, and I will come flat out and say I do not like him. At the end of the day, back in 2012, going into 13, I lost a dear friend on New Year's Eve. I was very angry. I was a bitter man. And I think, Cisco, you will remember, and I'm grateful for you and the nights that you helped me through that. That being said, the Bible commands us to have discernment. It doesn't ask us, it commands. Discernment is a very simple term. If you don't know what it means, it's common sense. Have common sense in what you're doing. Have extreme discernment in this decision. Again, I'll repeat it again just because I like saying it. I don't like Alderman Smedley, but he does not deserve this. At the end of the day, people grieve, people get angry. I've heard a lot of people say this is inappropriate. There is no appropriate way to grieve. Everybody grieves in their own way. Take that into consideration. I do think leadership should be strict. He should accept that willingly. If you're gonna go ahead and have the hearing with discernment, but I don't think it needs to go to that point, in my opinion. I feel that he has apologized in the last meeting. I don't think he needs to do another apology. I think he needs to let himself continue to grieve. This is still new. And at the end of the day, you have more important business to be dealing with. Thank you for your time. Again, Cisco, cheers to you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
2611.
Caller with the number 2611. Go ahead. Caller 2611, go ahead. We can hear you.
Hi, Alderman McNamara. This is Sharon Sebastian calling 77 Birchwood Drive, New Britain, although I am calling from Puerto Rico tonight. I am calling in full support of Alderman Smith. Can you hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
Thank you, John. 77 Birchwood Drive, New Britain, Connecticut, although tonight I call you from Puerto Rico, taking time out of my vacation to address some of the issues that are going on at the city council as they relate to Alderman Robert Smedley.
Is she calling from Puerto Rico?
I am.
There was a moment of silence, not for you, Sharon, but we couldn't hear you. Try and continue, please.
Hopefully you can hear me. I just want to simply state that I support Alderman Smedley, although I do not support the statement. Can you hear me now?
You seem to be fading in and out. If you write this to the council, we're going to take all these things into consideration, but try one more time.
Okay, I just want to say I'm calling in support of Alderman Smedley.
All right. Thanks, Sharon, and please write the council on this issue. We're not hearing you, your complete sentences. And I hope the weather is nice down there. Caller 0353. The floor is yours.
Yes, hi. Hey, I'm Peter Wallace, Booth Street, New Britain. I'm calling in support of Alderman Robert Smedley. I've known him my entire life, and he's always been a level-headed person. Removing him from the council for a moment of grief is not justified or warranted. Alderman Smedley has always put New Britain first. He has great pride in this city and the people who work to keep it running. I urge you to see Alderman's actions as a human moment. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Caller 2383. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Alicia Strong, from Nav. I am calling tonight. I'll be honest, I'm not Robert Smedley's biggest fan. We're almost completely politically opposite, and I don't really align with any of his positions. With that being said, accountability should be proportional. There is misconduct, it deserves scrutiny, and maybe even censure, but a full removal feels like too much. Right now, we have bigger issues to focus on. A housing crisis, rising rents, and an underfunded education system fighting for the 14% increase our schools need. Our energy should be on the urgent problems affecting everyday residents. So let's address the issue appropriately, but keep our priorities straight, because I feel like we have a lot more bigger fish to fry here in Britain. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia.
7069.
Caller 7069, go ahead.
Hello, this is Debbie Singh from 27 Wakefield. I agree with this resolution. I think while the resolution doesn't automatically dismiss him, I think we should investigate further. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it? Okay. All right, we've heard from the remote callers on the line. I'm going to call out anybody else wish to address the council, didn't sign up. Anybody else? Danny, you're next.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sandra Jimenez, 62 Emily Drive, New Britain. I'm here to say a couple of things. We have elected all of you in a position. To me, it's not Democrat, Republican. I don't look at things that way. I'm looking at right and wrong. And the right thing, well, let me stop here. We're all saying he was a wonderful guy, he's a wonderful guy. Okay. Trump at one point was a wonderful guy. We forgive things, and look where we're at now in society, in America. If we forgive this one thing and just disregard it, then where are we now? How do people look at us? Because let me tell you, I work in an office in the state, and let me tell you something. What keeps going on in New Britain, taxpayer fraud, tax collector fraud, this going on, the thing with Mimi, it's not a good thing. It's not a good look for New Britain. People are saying, oh, talk about something else, do something else. Or if people would stop doing things like this, then we could focus on what's necessary, not on this. Because people continue to do things like the taxpayer, things like Mr. Smedley did. That takes us away from what we really need to focus on. So I don't agree that it's just a Facebook post, because a Facebook post...
You just addressed the chair.
Because a Facebook post, President Trump did a Facebook post, okay? Was that okay? That's not okay. Our emotions we need to control, especially when we're in a position like he's in. We control our emotions. That's why we're elected in certain positions. We have to control ourselves. And just because we're upset about something does not allow or should allow us to be able to say what we want to say and then just, okay, well, we did that, okay, push it along and let's move on. No, I don't agree with that. Maybe he shouldn't be removed, but I don't agree that this should be pushed under the rug and nothing done about it, because for us to move forward on everything else, things like this need to stop. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mr. Solano.
Daniel Salerno, 80 Jones Drive, New Britain, Connecticut. I know how this works. We get up, we try to plead for your positions on issues, and very often our minds are made up. I've sat where you have sat for 8 years, 12 years in this council and in city government, and I've known Robert Smedley, the minority leader, well. I consider him a friend. That might not be in his advantage necessarily, but I do. Grieving has been covered. Errors have been covered. The qualities have been covered all through this evening. And if we took really good regard to that, we'd appreciate where exactly we are on who Robert Smedley is. But there's an elephant in the room that we haven't looked at, and that is this is not a precedent-setting moment. This happened back in 2014.
far more egregious acts were taking place during that time. I sat on the council for that event. Far more. Nothing even comes close in terms of that. And I do not support Alderman Smedley's comments and what he said. He knows that. But he came here and he has apologized. He apologized with tears in his eyes, still grieving, not more than 2 weeks ago. I saw that, and you saw that, those of you who were here. And I'm sorry for those who haven't finished 100 days yet. But by the way, this is really quite the position to be put in on your first time in the council, but here you are. Those issues where there was a mantra that the supporters of that situation took place in 2014, and their mantra was, give him a chance. Give him a second chance. That was their motto. That's what they came up here in droves of people who supported the circumstances in a far more egregious case, if anybody was there to see that. We know that. I'm saying yes. Give Alderman Smedley another chance. He certainly proved himself for all these years on this council. For anybody who's worked with him, you know that. He's reached out. He's far more diplomatic than I've ever been in my life, I'm sure. But the fact is he's done so. The time has come to deal with that reality. So remember, if we talk about all the things that were said today, one of those is we need to bring the temperature down. But this is only the beginning of the issues facing us in the city of New Britain. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lano. Anybody else? Step forward, sir. Actually, I'll take him, I saw him first, but then you, okay?
Good evening. Angel Monte, Highland Terrace. I'm here in support for my father. My father has given so much to the city through his leadership, dedication, and constant willingness to serve others. He doesn't just hold a position, he leads by example, showing integrity, compassion, and responsibility in every decision he makes for the community. But beyond what he's done for the city, he's a leader in my life in the most meaningful way by choosing to adopt me. He showed that leadership is not just about guiding a city, but about choosing love, commitment, and responsibility, even when it isn't easy. Because of him, I know what it means to feel chosen, supported, and believed in. And that is the greatest leadership I could ever experience. His influence has shaped the person I am becoming, and his love has given me a sense of belonging and strength that I will carry for the rest of my life. I beg you, please do not give up on my father, because if one mistake defines us, none of us would stand here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Council. Name's Scott Peters, 27 Wakefield Court. I come to speak in support of the resolution. I believe it's the right thing to do. Holding our public officials to account for such behaviors is the right thing to do. As we heard from Chris, the resolution doesn't automatically dismiss the alderman from the council. It merely investigates what should be done. Grieving does not its context, it's not an excuse for our behaviors, and it does not excuse the consequences of our actions. So yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to address the council? Anybody else? Yes.
Good evening, Margaret Dabrowski, 88 Pinehurst Avenue. I've been listening to all this stuff. I saw the posts and everything, and yeah, they were pretty bad. I've known Bobby a long time too. I'm a 911 dispatcher for 28 years and counting, still doing it. Whether this rises to the removal, I'm not sure about that. That's not, to me, I'm not the judge here. Should he be censured? Definitely. Should he remove his position of leadership? Definitely, until he earns it back. Now, I know he apologized to all of you. He should apologize to the people he directly affected by this post. And there should be consequences, because those of us who've raised children know that if we don't give consequences on bad behavior, it continues. Now, I know what happened back in, well, Danny Salerno said back then, and it should have been probably handled differently. And it was, because that person was left. He had to be removed, and he left. And he was vilified, and that happened then. But he should be responsible for what he does. When you put on social media, it may be your private page, but we all know there's nothing private about social media. It's out for the world to see. It's out for generations to see. Once it's out there, it doesn't go away. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to address the council? Anybody else? Go ahead.
Hi, Kimberly Crum, 87 Governor Street. So I am here and I support Alderman Smedley. And I just put something together, and as I read the post made by Alderman Smedley on the day it was announced that his friend had unexpectedly passed, I saw a man experiencing stages of grief. For those who may not be familiar, the stages of grief are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. In his pain, he lashed out, and something that is not typical in his character. In hindsight, should he have stepped away from the social media? Yes. Unfortunately, there were others who chose to take advantage of his moment of vulnerability and exploit it to its fullest. The alderman who spoke and apologized on February 11th was someone who had begun to find peace, excuse me, had begun to find peace and acceptance after a great loss. This is the person I have come to respect through his service and conduct in the city council meetings. His removal as alderman for Ward 4 would be a travesty, not only for him personally, but for the city of New Britain and the constituents he has faithfully served for 6 years, for 6 terms. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, another round. Anybody else wish to address the council? Anybody else? Yes, sir.
It's on. A lot of you know who I am. My name is Andre Davila, 47 Oneida Street. I've met a lot of you guys, spoken to you a lot on social media, back and forth, very critical of all of you guys, most of you guys, right? This is a joke, man. This is really a joke. You guys are really having a hearing about this when some of you has done worse. There's been social media out, things you guys said. Yeah, or you?
Yes.
All right,
yes.
I'll talk to you.
Thank you.
All right, Bobby, all right, you look different. There's been a lot of social media going back and forth, even when Charlie Kirk passed away. Right? Some of you guys said some nasty things, right? Come on, man. This is what he said, grieving. I know his child didn't punch somebody in the head recently, right? I'm talking to you, right?
I know you're talking to me.
Yeah.
Please address what's on the agenda.
I'm addressing exactly what it is. Come on, man. You guys come on. Whoever who hasn't sinned, throw the first stone. You guys, come on, man. This is a joke. That's all I got to say is a joke.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to address the council? Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Dr. Violet Jimenez Sims, 54 Pinehurst. I want to talk to you a little bit today about responsibility, leadership, and public trust. Elected officials hold a position that is fundamentally different from that of a private citizen. Their words carry weight. Their statements shape public perception, and their conduct sets the tone for civic life in our community. And freedom of speech for anyone doesn't mean freedom from responsibility, nor freedom from consequences. The burden of responsibility for elected officials does not pause in moments of grief, frustration, or anger. In fact, it becomes even more important. Recently, as you all have mentioned, Alderman Smedley used his public platform to suggest without evidence that members of the current administration were connected to the death of a colleague. While the original post included the word allegedly, any ambiguity disappeared in the comments, where he directly blamed individuals, used profanity, and repeatedly insulted a resident. That was not private grief. It was a public official using the authority of his position to amplify accusations and inflame division. That's not simply distasteful, it's actually dangerous. When an elected official gives voice to unverified claims, those claims gain credibility simply because of who said them. Even after that post was deleted, the damage was done. You can't just put that genie back in the bottle. The screenshots remain, the narratives take hold. And we're still seeing, right now, residents repeat these claims across social media and public forums, not because they've been investigated or verified in any way, but because a prominent elected official gave them oxygen. An apology was embedded in a memorial speech, but it did not reflect true accountability. Saying something along the lines of, "I apologize to anyone who felt that wrath," does not acknowledge the harm caused. It does not take responsibility for the misuse of public office, and it does not reassure the public that this won't happen again. This is also happening at a time when a new administration has shown some courage examining long-standing concerns and taking action where others didn't. I know that's not easy, and doing that is right, even though it means challenging systems, habits, and individuals who were comfortable in the way things were. Political disagreement doesn't justify reckless accusations, and being a leader demands the discipline to inform, or at least know when to be quiet and not inflame. This is not about politics. I appreciate this administration for considering a process that affirms this city, and the fact that public office carries not just authority, but responsibility. False accusations are not simply a difference of opinion, and naming a person and putting them in potential danger from fanatics is not lighthearted fun. This is urgent, it's serious, and a standard that the people of this city deserve. So I trust also that you can do this along with all the other monumentally important things happening in this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sen. Anybody else wish to speak in the room? Anybody else? Anybody else? Seeing none, this concludes public participation at 8:15. The special meeting will begin shortly. I just also want to acknowledge the individuals who sent emails and letters to the whole council, and those messages and letters will be taken into consideration, as will all the other speakers who we heard from tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to call to order February 18, 2026, special meeting of the Common Council. The time is now 8:27. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderman McNamara.
Here.
Alderwoman Scott.
Here.
Alderman Simpson.
Present.
Alderman Smedley. Alderman Malinowski. Alderman Gibson. Alderwoman Delernia. Alderman Santiago.
Present.
Alderwoman Barbosa. Alderwoman Vargas. Alderwoman Maldonado. Alderman Centeno.
Here.
Alderwoman Ortiz Luna.
Here.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, can you please read the warrant?
By the authority of the state of Connecticut, you are hereby commanded to notify John McNamara, Wilma Barbosa, Luz Ortiz Luna.
Mr. President, sorry, Madam Clerk. I move that we waive the reading of the warrant.
All right, motion by Alderman McNamara, seconded by Simpson, of the waiving of the warrant. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried to waive the reading of the warrant. Alderperson Luz Ortiz Luna.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 1.
Second by Alderwoman Wilma Barbosa.
This resolution,
Hold on 1 second. I would like to recognize Alderman Smedley before you read this resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
There's a formality here that I have to recuse myself because I'm included in the resolution. I will do so after I read a brief statement. Tonight I stand proud in these council chambers where I have sat for the last 13 years serving my community. I've always acted with integrity and maintained decorum in these chambers, in my professional life and in my personal life. But I too am human, and I have the courage to admit my mistakes. I do make mistakes. I take risks. I wake up every day just like all of you. I go to work. I work with a purpose. I serve my community tirelessly and at all hours, day and night. And then I come home and take care of my family. My Facebook post was made out of anger, emotional distress, and during a time of grieving. People grieve differently, and I ask that you take that into consideration. I'm asking that you consider applying a different lens in order to process this entire situation. As leaders, we are under incredible stress. As a leader at work, I am under incredible stress. In today's political world, we, as council members, are under incredible stress. My post was made under stress. I'd like to formally apologize for my post. As I mentioned, it was out of anger, emotional stress, and as all of you know, extremely out of character for me. I genuinely regret this situation and additionally apologize to Jarrell's family for any further inconvenience that this has caused during their time of mourning. I would like to apologize to the City of New Britain and the Ward 4 constituents who have continued to support me election after election. I know you expect a high level of representation. I experienced a moment of weakness, and I'm sorry for that. I will continue my work as a dedicated member of the city. I'm committed to reproving to my constituents that I'm still a great leader and that I too have learned from this experience and will continue to grow. I ask that my fellow council members consider not moving forward with this removal process. Rather, consider some of the alternatives that are available to you through the charter. Please accept my apology. Allow me to grow and learn from this mistake and continue working for our constituents and my constituents in Ward 4. At this point, I'll recuse myself from the rest of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Smedley. Now for, back to Mrs. Luna.
this resolution is to act upon a resolution to decide if a hearing and a special meeting should be held to determine whether or not Alderman Robert Smedley should continue as a member of the Common Council.
Thank you. Just to repeat, this is just option for us to have a hearing on removal or any other discipline actions. So that being said, any members of the council wants to speak? Alderman Malinowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm reminded today as I look out, a lot of people have ashes on their forehead. And today, Ash Wednesday, we're reminded that we're all sinners. And from dust we come, from dust we will return. So let's keep that in mind, especially on today. Removal sets a very dangerous precedent. It has not been done, to my knowledge, in this council's history. Alderman Smedley is an elected member of this council. He was elected by the residents of Ward 4. And removal takes that decision out of their hands and puts it into ours, which, while we were elected to represent other constituencies, that takes away their enfranchisement. Alderman Smedley is a human being, and he expressed an opinion, however ill-advised and frankly stupid it was. He has that First Amendment right, and while what he said was unbecoming, it was not illegal. Every one of us has said and done stupid things in our lives. And if we move forward with this, who's to say the next person that says something stupid gets on the wrong side of a majority vote? So it might be one of us next. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other members? Alderman Gibson.
Good evening. I just wanted to say, as I look at the resolution, and I know the wording is to remove, but I respect the process. With that being said, I don't want to presume to speak for anyone else when it comes to their feelings about this situation. I am too shocked, anger, and holding a deep heart and full of sadness. I know that the echoes of tremendous grief that follows an unexpected death, for I too had faced many in my life. I understand how profoundly it can affect a person, and each experience shapes us differently and have us express differently. I just standing here in full support because as being on this caucus, being endorsed, I'm an independent, being endorsed by the Republican Party, I took a lot of backlash for just being on the party, for who I am, what I look like, and how I should think and how I should vote and how I should be. The team that I stood on respected me for who I was, especially my fellow colleague, Smedley. With that being said, I want to take a moment to express my support. I know a lot has been said. There's different feelings going on this, but once again, he is human. I am a social worker by trade, so he has my empathy right now, and as a friend, I'm here to support him, not just as a colleague, but as a friend. Because regardless of what this is, what we standing for tonight, we all can use money. And like it was said many times, you know, I'm always trying to be mindful too. To be an elected official, to be held to a higher standard in leadership, and to be human at the same time with so many things going on in our lives at any given moment. Once again, I can't, words definitely ill-advised. We all stated that before, but who's to say, like you said, who's next? And would that be taken out of context? I can't justify anything that was written. I can't be justified that anything that was toward to. I'm here to support my colleague, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other members? Jessica Alderwoman Vargas.
Thank you, Chair. I'm deeply troubled to stand here tonight. We are not here to debate policy or advance initiatives. We're here to address the conduct of a sitting member of this council whose actions threaten the integrity of this body and the trust that the residents of New Britain place in us. Recently, Alderman Smedley publicly posted accusatory and grotesque statements on Facebook regarding the mayor's administration. In the post, he implied that the Giratana family was somehow connected to Alderman Hargrave's death, referencing an allegation that they had threatened his job. Suggesting that the Giratanas had something to do with a council member's death is a grave accusation. It fuels speculation, it stirs public anger, and can place individuals and families at risk from those who believe that they are responding to a perceived wrongdoing. Words of that magnitude carry consequences. They do not exist in a vacuum. When an elected official speaks, our words carry authority. They shape public perception. They influence community dialogue and impact the reputations and safety of all those involved. If the post were still available, you would also see that he wrote to Margaret, I don't know if Margaret's still here, but he wrote to Margaret that Jarrell's gone because of political bullying, effectively placing targets on members of this community. You would read him telling Miss Marie Losh to shut the F up, that she had no idea what's going on, before concluding saying that Jarrell is dead because of people like her. Others publicly favored Smedley's sentiments in full agreement, and yet I'm supposed to feel safe? To everyone who has been offended, especially you, Ms. Murray, I don't know if she's still here, but I want to say that I'm sorry. This behavior does not represent who we are as a council, and no one should have been subjected to that treatment. It angers me further that when concerns are raised about his misconduct, we are told that holding him accountable is retaliation. This is not retaliation. Retaliation is personal. Accountability is principled. When an elected official makes harmful, misleading, and derogatory public accusations, especially involving the death of a colleague, it is our obligation to address it. This is not about politics. It's about protecting the credibility of this council and the safety of our community, including those who may not always agree with us. Some may describe this behavior as grief and argue that he deserves another chance. I respectfully disagree. I know of no workplace that would tolerate this level of misconduct, particularly in today's political climate. This language further incites hostility at a time when our country is already in a fragile state. Speaking to constituents and colleagues in a public and derogatory manner is unacceptable. As a new council member, I will speak candidly. I don't feel safe in an environment where an elected official is willing to publicly insinuate that members of our community were connected to a death. If allegations of that gravity can be made so freely, what assurance do any of us have that that won't happen to us? We were elected to serve with integrity, sound judgment, and respect for the weight of our words. Holding office, particularly in a leadership role, demands a higher standard. Our residents deserve better, our city deserves better, and this council must reflect that standard. For these reasons, I do support that Alderman Smedley be disciplined for his actions. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Any other members? Alderman McNamara.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, let me say that it saddens me to be here tonight, be responsible for calling this meeting. And all the remarks, letters, and comments tonight will be taken into consideration in how the council acts. First, let me say something about Bobby, the Bobby Smedley I know. We heard from his adopted son tonight. He has done good deeds in the community. That includes DJing for my son's benefit when he had brain cancer. However, the facts, as I know them, at least the facts I have tonight, are that the post that's been in question tonight, that's been identified as belonging to Alderman Smedley, was knowingly false. Constitutional lawyers can debate about abusive language, obnoxious language, behavior. I'll let them do that. It was knowingly false. and it amounts to what I know about libel to be defamatory. And I don't have to tell anybody in this room about the level of disinformation we're all experiencing every day. And in the spirit of this council self-regulating itself, if that's the right word, I'm going to support the resolution to have a hearing to consider disciplinary action. And I also think there's language in the ordinances about slander that need to be taken into account. And I also think it gives an opening to all of us to consider a code of conduct in the 21st century. My reading of the ethics and the other ordinances that we live by or govern by don't seem to take into account social media. I don't share social media space with Alderman Smedley. And many Republicans will tell you I'm as partisan as they come. But I believe in partisanship with civility. And that's what this council needs to move toward. I think the council, the city will benefit from adopting this resolution. Let me remind you that this is not, this is just a public review under the charter and the ordinances. And it is advancing the process, does not equal removal. And again, we've had people talk about both things tonight. So I think we need a hearing. We need to examine any more facts or information that come forward about it and take that into consideration. So I support adoption.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other members? Alderwoman Barbosa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I rise today not to address personalities or politics, but to address conduct, standards, and our shared responsibility as elected officials. I rise this evening to address conduct as it relates to our obligations under the city's code of ethics and our sworn duty as elected officials. The public trust placed in this body requires that we exercise care, restraint, and diligence in our words, particularly when those words are disseminated publicly and carry serious implications for the safety, reputation, and well-being of others. When an elected official attributes statements to others that were not made, advances grave allegations without verification, or calls for punitive action based on false or unsubstantiated claims, that conduct undermines due process. It erodes public confidence and exposes this council and the city to significant legal, ethical, and reputational harm. Disagreement is not misconduct. Debate is not misconduct. But the misuse of one's platform to circulate false assertions, especially those that suggest criminality or institutional wrongdoing, crosses a line that this body cannot ignore. Our responsibility does not end at freedom of speech. It includes accountability for accuracy, fairness, and integrity. Words spoken or posted by elected officials are not private acts. They are acts of governance. This council must remain committed to truth, to process, and to a professional environment in which staff, colleagues, and the public are not subjected to unfounded accusations or intimidation. Freedom of speech is fundamental, and nothing I have said challenges that principle. However, freedom of speech does not eliminate accountability, particularly for elected officials speaking in their official capacity. The Code of Ethics does not regulate viewpoints, it regulates conduct. It does not silence disagreement. It requires that accusations, especially those alleging criminal behavior or misconduct, be grounded in fact and made through appropriate processes. When speech causes foreseeable harm because it is false, unverified, or reckless, the issue before us is not censorship. It is responsibility. Elected office carries both the right to speak and the obligation to speak truthfully and with care. That distinction is essential to maintaining public trust, and it is the distinction I am relying on here, and I support this resolution.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Any other members? Alderwoman Luna Ortiz?
Thank you, Mr. President. I am bothered, angry, and sad that we're going through this right now instead of healing together, because I know that's what Jarrell would have wanted. We all grieve differently, yes. However, a leader of the city should not turn to social media and make allegations and attacks for others to spread. This post put our mayor, his administration, and this council in danger. Also, New Britain residents, as we heard from her directly today, were disrespected by our city leader on our post. And I just want to thank Mr. Davila for opening this wound. Because you know what I did as a leader? After you brought up my daughter's situation, what Alderman Smedley should have done, gone to the back, took a minute for himself, just like how I did, and come back and sit in this chair and continue the job as elected. So I chose to take a minute to myself and calm down instead of lashing out and making a wrong decision. Therefore, I support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Any other members? Hold on a second.
Order.
Hold up, before you. Hold on, it's a point of order, you're saying? Point of order
My
goes before.
point of order is, I've heard a lot of us say that we should consider some other forms of discipline, but when it comes to this resolution, it says removal is are we limited to removal if we vote yes on this resolution?
Miss,
Hold on a second. Council?
Yeah, if you want to amend it, you can amend it, but tonight's hearing only is in regards to whether or not you go forward with the hearing. The speculation about what's going to happen afterwards is purely speculation. You should stick to the issues at hand, which is whether or not you go forward with the hearing.
Yes, sir, through you, Mr. Chair, but
Yes.
the resolution says the hearing is for the purposes of removal. So does that mean the only outcome of the hearing, if we vote for it, will be removal? That's what I'm asking for clarification on.
Yeah, everything's within the powers of the council. Council decides what it is. It's up to removal.
So at this point, it does say removal, but again, there's other options that can be talked about during the hearing. Because technically, the hearing itself, am I correct, is just a motion to bring to a hearing?
It is, and you can amend this motion to reflect what the alderman is saying, if you choose to.
As in?
Up to. Removal.
Then, if I may, Mr. Chair, I would like to offer that amendment. I move that we amend the resolution to state that the penalty is up to removal.
Can I get a second? All right. So we have an amendment to the resolution that adds up to removal. And I have a second from Gibson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Point of order?
Sorry, yeah, on an amendment, we have to have discussion on the item, and then.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, if it
Yes,
gets
correct,
voted on, we
correct,
go to
correct,
item
correct.
as
Thank you.
amended.
Thank
Gotcha,
you.
anytime.
Yes. Any discussions on the as amended? No, actually it's none, because you have to vote on as amended, then have a discussion. Am I correct? Corporate Counsel.
I'm sorry, what's the question?
So the question is, it was first, it was second as amended, so now we have a vote on the amendment and then the
No,
discussion?
you have a discussion on the amendment, and then you can have a vote.
And then vote? Okay,
Correct.
all right, so, thank you. So, any questions
on the amendment?
on the amendments?
Yeah, I'd just like to say the charter language is quite specific, that the only mechanism we have in terms of moving ahead, and the Corp Council can correct me, is the language of removal, but it can, when that's taken up, be amended. I have no objection to saying up to removal, that you're using two prepositions. Correct, Matt?
Sure thing.
All right. But this is, again, based on the charter and the only way we can act to consider any kind of discipline. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Simpson?
Just on the language as it stands, right? There are the whereas sections of our resolutions, which basically state, hey, here's what's going on. Since all this stuff is going on, and the next section begins with, now there it be resolved. And this is the action the council is actually taking tonight. This is what our vote counts here. If we want to amend it, the resolution is here. We've voted to entertain this as a business item. But I want to be clear that the language shared with us tonight says that, be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of New Britain will hold a public hearing at a special meeting pursuant to Section 2-27 of the Code of Ordinances for the City of New Britain to make a determination as to whether Alderperson Robert Smedley shall be removed as a member thereof, such meeting to be held no later than March 13th, 2026. So basically what this paragraph means to me, in my understanding, is that if we vote yes, we will then have another hearing on this, and for the purposes of specifically removal, right? Now, we've heard from a lot of our community tonight that maybe that's not the best idea to go off the rip, right? And I gotta be honest, I've had some conversations with Smedley, particularly today, that do leave me enraged. I am angered, I am disappointed, but I need to make sure that as somebody who represents the people sitting in front of us and not just the folks sitting across from us, is that this is what our community wants. And I did keep score, and the people who came out tonight, folks against this are 22-7 for yes, and some other responses not indicating some, but up to removal, I think should be part of, at least part of this discussion. So I'll entertain that motion for the amendment. Thank you.
Any other discussions on the amendment? All those in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now, any discussions as amended? Alderwoman Scott.
Hey, everybody, peace and love. I know it's Ash Wednesday and Ramadan, so thanks for coming out, everybody, and speaking. And I wanted to speak on behalf of you guys. I just wrote down some things today while you guys were talking. And thanks for coming and sharing your feelings on both sides. We are definitely better than this. And the concern, I'm concerned because as an elected person, I took an oath, we all took an oath to serve our constituents, to serve our community. And yes, freedom of speech is a definite necessity here in this country, but we are role models in this position. We have to conduct ourselves responsibly and safe. And we teach our children to be responsible and safe. And I take that very serious in this position and as a parent and as a community member. And so I am deeply concerned for my fellow aldermen. The statements that were stated online are concerning, they're unsafe, and they're threatening allegations towards staff or administration and the party that I'm affiliated with. The words used towards constituents online are also deeply concerning, and that I'm concerned that you guys had to witness that going on online as well. And on behalf of one of my constituents that reached out to me regarding this, there was an incident here in our council last term where the alderman that's at question right now was very disrespectful and rude to a minor. And that mother wanted me to make sure that I brought that up tonight. She wasn't able to be here. So I need to say that. And the peace resolution was put in place last term as well. And are we really withholding that when we're allowing this to be, these kind of statements to be made? I heard a lot of people say stuff about grief And I just want to say, I study that, I work in the mental health field, and I am deeply concerned for my fellow aldermen. I haven't heard anybody say anything about what kind of help he's getting with this grieving process, what's going on. I haven't heard an apology really until tonight. I don't know if the Garatina family was apologized to. And so I am concerned about the lack of remorse until tonight, honestly. And we need to be supporting, as an alderwoman, I feel, I'm not saying these things to be mean, regarding him or anything like that. It's just, I'm saying this from my heart, like, we need to support and help. And if there's someone who's needing support and help, and we're not looking at that and making sure that we are maintaining our mental health, it's really hard to work in this profession and be in the helping field, but we need to be able to regulate our emotions. And if there's one of us that's not regulating our emotions, we have to look at that and figure out what's best for our community. And I'm not saying that to be mean at all, and because of the lack of remorse up until this point. We unfortunately have to have a deeper conversation about this, and we're gonna have to have a hearing to move forward and have a conversation about what needs to be done here. And make sure that we're making the right, responsible decision. And I know I heard some people say stuff about, we need to focus on things in a city, and I agree. But as a mom and a woman, I know how to multitask, and I think we're capable of doing taking care of this, because we need to make sure this kind of thing, we have to be proactive right now in this moment. We have to make sure this kind of thing does not happen again. We can't just sweep it under the rug, and hopefully it doesn't happen again. So I hope that we're gonna continue, like, we need to hold ourselves as a higher standard as role models for the city. And I hope everybody understands and respects that we do need to look further into this, and it can't be swept under the rug. The statements that were made are very hurtful and irresponsible, and we take an oath to serve you. And so that's what we're gonna do. So thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Any other members? McNamara.
Yeah, I'm redundant, but I mentioned the word disinformation. And it's important, I think it was said by somebody in the audience, doing nothing sends a message. There are no standards for elected officials. I don't think we want that. And the other thing is, we're following due process, and many of us feel due process in this country today is being ignored by the federal government. We have an obligation to follow due process and to be fair about it. And moving forward with a hearing also allows the alderperson an opportunity, with council, I believe, to bring out more information. And so that's why I think this is necessary, to begin a process of depolarization and good, healthy debate without disinformation and with civility, as was referenced by the 2024 ordinance that this council adopted with regard to that. So, not to prolong this, but I think due process is what we're about tonight.
Thank you, Alderman. Corporal Counsel.
Yeah,
Mayor
I just
Pokorski.
wanted to make sure that the amendment was clear. So I know we said up to removal,
Yes.
but it specifically says whether Alderman Robert Smedley shall be, I think there's a missing word there, so can I suggest disciplined up to removal as a member?
Yes.
Yeah, if you could.
I make a motion to amend the resolution to, what do we do?
Add the word disciplined, shall be disciplined, add disciplined after the word be, and then up to removal as a member.
I make a motion that that is how the item is amended.
So I need a second. Second by Alderman Gibson, and continue with the conversation, correct? Yes. Any others? As is amended, again. Alderman Sertano. A second. No. Yes, the conference, then vote on it.
I raise in support of the resolution, but I don't know if I speak for some of my all my other council members here, but I'm mad at Alderman Smedley for putting us in this position. Words matter, and it's just like putting stuff on. I'm not on Facebook. But when you put something on Facebook, you own it. You have to own it. And I understand the whole thing about grieving, and we all grieve. But I haven't heard from the Gerald family. They haven't spoken out and accused anybody of anything. So I'm gonna be supporting this resolution because I also believe, as Alderman McNamara said, in due process. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other members? As amended twice. Do we have to? All right, all in favor of as amended twice, say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
We're voting on the amendment.
On amendment, yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carried. Now, any further discussions on amended twice? Alderman Simpson.
Thank you. I know we're running through a bunch of mechanics here, but I do want to speak. This does warrant a further discussion, right? I saw the post go up. I saw the post go down. I've gotten a litany of texts, calls, emails. That being said, regardless of how angered I am by this man's alleged actions, Alderman McNamara is right. Due process is important. Alderman Centeno is correct. Our words do matter. And I say that as somebody who falters from time to time on social media, right? I'm no stranger to that battle. At the same time, does it warrant removal? I don't know. We heard from you guys. So I do rise in support of having this hearing with discipline up to removal, but ultimately, I'm really not trying to center my anger there. I'm not trying to center any partisan politics. We saw political leaders of both aisles come up and speak in favor, against, yada, 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 right? But at the end of the day, I was elected to represent you guys. I was elected to make decisions on your behalf that do impact this council. And part of those powers that you guys entrusted us with is to self-regulate this body. But with that being said, no matter how much I am mad at this man, I think I love democracy just a little bit more, and I think that's worth preserving. So I rise in support of this resolution as amended twice.
Yes.
Thank you. I urge adoption.
Any other members?
One last point of order, Mr. Chair. One last one.
It's a point of order, so I got to go before you.
I was curious to whether or not this meeting was called properly, because I understand the charter gives the President Pro Tem authority to call the meeting, but I was under the impression that was when the mayor was sick or incapacitated.
Actually, on the charter, it allows the mayor, pro temp, or 3 members of the council to hold a special meeting. So either one of those can validate this meeting. So it is a valid meeting. Yep. That being said, Alderwoman Maldonado. Yeah, got you.
Okay. I believe in second chances.
Alderwoman, you must stand for this. Thank you.
I believe in second chances, and I care deeply about serving our community. But when it comes to safety and respect, we must be clear. Recent polls cause concern and create a fear. This is not about politics. It's about the example we set and how we treat one another. Our community deserves calm, respectful leadership. This is not about silencing anyone or denying freedom of speech. It's about responsibility. When words cause fear, there's no space for that. My principles and my community come first, and I stay with the resolution.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Any other members? That being said, all in favor as amended twice, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
No, for the record.
Okay, so all in favor said aye, was majority, and 2 said nay. Motion carried. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All right. Huh? So, motion to adjourn was by Wilma Barbosa and seconded by Alderman Centeno. Barbosa. Say Barbosa. 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 And the time is now 9:08, and meeting's adjourned.
Good job.
Yep.